right, nice to have you this evening. We've been looking forward to this space for I think for 2 days now, and finally we're here. We're having some couple of people requesting for the mic to ask questions, but I think we just have to give them hold up on that because later they might have their own opportunity. They will have opportunity to ask all kind of questions they want to ask. So right now. Um, we're just gonna allow you guys to talk about what Holdcoin is all about, and let us know what you guys have been building in the past, what you guys are doing right now, and what you guys are looking to do in the future. I also have a couple of questions I will ask as well. So it's all actually it's nice to see you here, and down there I think I see a couple of guys from the BNB community. These are guys I've known for a couple of years as well. So it's nice to see you guys down there. And I appreciate you guys, turning up for this space.
Yeah,
So
100%. I also want to say thanks, and it's such a good community. The BNB Chain community is awesome.
yeah, the BNB Chain community is actually awesome. They're pretty much active. They're always, looking out for the projects that are doing so well. They're always there to support the project. They're always there to, push it out there for others to see. I love the BNB Chain community. I've been in the BNB Chain community. I'm still there and I love them. And I'm a big fan of the BNB community.
Yeah, there's no better place to be, and I can see some of the people on this call who I talk to, that I want to be working with, and yourself, for the long term, because we've been building hard. I know you guys have been working hard as well in the community, so I think it's about working together to kind of build the chain, and spread the word about the chain, and it's a great chain. I put out a tweet earlier on with the team, and BNB Chain are doing some great things, to make the network really fast and really, really cheap. And the amount of initiatives and programs that the BNB Chain do is brilliant. So in my opinion, it's the place to be.
Yeah, you're definitely right. I think I see the program, the recent one. I think I see a comment from the handle that you guys did apply for them.
Yeah, we've been applying for a few things actually. Building BNB Chain, there's quite a lot of support that you can get, and we've been pushing through some applications recently. So if we're successful with those applications, they're for sort of grant funding or financial support. Like you get like gas fees back that that the contractor's been spending, or general grants to build. There's loads. I think they have the most valuable builder, MVB. They've got like a meme coin kind of competition, but they kind of support meme coins that are building. So yeah, we've gone at those things hard. But yeah, I mean, did you want me to kind of just give a little bit of a explanation as to kind of like who we are and what we've done over the last
Yeah,
few
yeah,
years?
pretty much. I think one of the questions I had in mind was to ask why the name Hold. What happened? What came up? What were you thinking? Why was the name Hold? Why did you come up with the name Hold itself?
Well, I kind of find it amazing that nobody has built a really big project around the word HODL, because I did a bit of research a while ago, and I think it's either the most used or one of the most used words in crypto. It's not something that is restricted to say just our project. Like all projects talk about hodling. And it's funny because I heard that the most profitable wallets in crypto are basically wallets of people that have died, because they've not got sucked in, to like when there's price variation, when prices go up, prices go down, they've held, they've hodled. And obviously because they're not still with us. So I remember hearing about it, I think, God, that's crazy. Like crypto, the people who make the most are the ones that know how to hodl. So I think it's a great strategy. It's a great word. It's a great brand. But what's really awesome is that our project, you know, we're leading, we're kind of pioneering on the BNB chain as a project where if you hold our token, if you HODL our token, you earn BNB. So there's no other project that's done what we've done in that regard. You know, we've really developed the technology around that, and I could spend all day explaining that. You know, all the little intricacies around our smart contract and our approach to that. But fundamentally, what we're about is we're a project where if you invest into our project, you're going to earn reward income. You know, so since 2021, like May 2021, when the project started, we've distributed over 20,000 BNB, which I think, based on the current price, is about 13.5 million. So it's been awesome, you know, and we've learned a lot. But that's what it is at its basic. You know, we're there for people that don't want to, you know, chase charts all day and kind of like, you know, constantly be trading from one thing to another and then regret the thing that they sold because it pumped, or wish they'd bought something that they didn't because, you know, it pumps out of nowhere, but they didn't get a bag of it, and everything in between. You know, the whole point of our project is that while you're holding it, you're getting BNB rewards.
Oh, that's awesome. That's great. I think that's one thing I love about the whole token. Having to, you know, they having to hold the whole token and, you know, get the benefit of earning BNB. That's pretty awesome. That's a catch. You know, having to think of holding a coin and earning another coin is a catch. You wouldn't want to, like, miss out on getting to earn BNB for free. You don't need to do anything. You just don't need to work. You don't need to uh, trade. All you need to do is buy the whole coin and leave it in your wallet, and you get BNB for free. And if I must have heard you correct, you said you guys have distributed over 20,000 BNB to holders. Am I
Yeah.
correct?
20,000, let me check. 20,478.
That,
20,478,
that's
which is,
huge.
yeah,
That's
it's
huge.
crazy. It's
That's huge.
$13.3 million worth of BNB at current price.
That's huge.
Yeah.
That's huge for over 4 years. No, that's pretty much, that's huge. Because in my opinion, you don't see projects doing this anymore. You tend to see people, you tend to see projects always looking out to eat from their community, but you guys are still here. You guys have been building for 4 years, and you're still caring for your community, having to still make this distribution of BNBs to holders as well. It gives the holders benefits to still holding. You get to see people wanting to, you know, be at the top level of the holders, getting more, acquiring more of the tokens, making sure like they have a couple of whole tokens in their wallet to be able to earn more BNB. And I think the more whole tokens you have, the more BNB you earn, right?
Yeah, yes, it's quite straightforward. Like, I mean, one of the cool things about it is that you don't have to stake your tokens. Like, we want people to be in control of their assets. It's a DeFi project, so you hold your HODL tokens in your wallet, and you simply connect to the hodltoken.net website, and you're able to collect your BNB reward every 7 days. If you reinvest 100% of your BNB reward, we actually, at the moment, we're running a promotion whereby you get to claim again 3 days earlier. So if you reinvest your BNB reward into more HODL and increase, like, build your bag, so it's kind of like it sort of offers a way of people to kind of DCA their bags. You know, they can kind of increase their holdings. But how it works basically is that you connect to the D app, and if you own 1% of all of the HODL tokens, you get 1% of the reward pool every 7 days. You know, whatever's in the reward pool, like, and I'll explain a little bit more about some of the mechanics behind that. But you basically are going to get 1% of the rewards, and then yeah, if you want to reinvest, obviously we're building up the project, so we've got like promotions where you reinvest 100% and you get to claim again 3 days earlier. So people right now who are reinvesting their BNB rewards into HODL, if you put $1,000 in just at the moment, and this is like while the market's still nowhere near kind of like the peak of a bull run. Obviously, we're so far from that. I can't even put into words how far away we are from like the explosion that's going to be coming into crypto when it really takes off over this sort of next 6, 9 months, 12 months. But people right now in our community, they're getting like over 50% APR. So if you invest $1,000 into HODL, you're going to be getting over $500 back without even selling. So that's huge. And the thing is as well, if you reinvest into more HODL, your bag size increases, which means your claim of the reward pool increases. So we can kind of touch on this, but how it works basically is we as other projects have done, we're a reward token, so everything goes on chain, and there's like a 5% tax on buy, sells, and transfers. And then we have like this kind of really, really awesome system that then converts those tokens under certain conditions, into BNB. So, and then you connect and you claim your share of the reward pool. But what's unique about our project is that we're not just relying on taxes on chain to create these rewards. We're also creating revenue. So we're building games. We've got like 6 games. We've got like 2 awesome NFT ranges. They all work together, and these things are generating revenue, and that revenue is helping drive sustainability and helping us build the project and helping fuel the reward pool. And that's fundamentally why other projects that have tried to be reward tokens have died and failed quickly, is because they're solely reliant on transactional taxes, whereas we have the transactional taxes, but we also have revenue.
I mean, that's awesome anyway, because you definitely most projects recently, because they depend on the transactions, they depend on the tax they gain from the transactions to probably buy back. But I'm pretty shocked that you guys are into games as well, and I think I will have to put in my research work and get to know these games and probably try them out myself, because I love playing games personally. So when I see crypto projects that are into games, it really intrigues me, and I really want to know what happens. So I think the next question I want to ask is right now, what are you guys doing apart from the games, apart from the NFTs? What else are you guys like doing to put the project afloat, put the project out there for everyone to keep on building the project as well? Because like I said, recently you guys have also applied for the innovative program, the BNB innovation programs. So what else are you guys doing to put the project afloat? Yeah, Mickey, I see you put in your hands. I think after when you answer my question, I'm gonna like bring you up to ask your own question as well.
Yeah, do you mean from like a marketing perspective, or just generally how we're kind of building the project?
Yeah, the marketing. What else are you guys doing apart from the marketing? What other things are you guys doing behind background to just make sure the projects are it's being put out there for everyone to see?
I think we're doing a lot of things because you have to, like it's a very competitive space. You have to make sure your messaging is clear and that you're reaching the right people. So if I think about X, for example, we're doing a lot of work with, and some of these legends that we're working with at the moment are on this call. We're working with the people that we know over the years are some of the most influential people, when it comes to the BNB chain. So they support us kind of getting out, amplifying our messages through X. And I personally believe X is like there's 2 platforms, like as a project developer, which I really feel, I'm going to say 3 actually, but 2 from a marketing perspective that I feel are really powerful. X first, so we do an awful lot of work on X. We've got 10 accounts, so we've got accounts that sort of share the how the reward pool is growing. We've got accounts that share things like buys, I have an account and I'm doxed and I'm giving updates about what we're working on. And then obviously you have the HODL account. We've got accounts for NFTs. So we put an awful lot of work into our presence on X. And then we're making sure that we're actually working with and engaging with, you know, the real heavy hitters, the people who have been here in the trenches for the last 4 years, like Clarissa and Crypto Ace and all these guys, you know. And I know I'm just looking at who's on the call, but some of these guys have been here for all this time building, you know, so we know that, we've seen them. So we work with those guys, and, you know, the goal is like long-term relationships. So that's one thing. The other thing is things like CoinMarketCap. You know, people don't realize how powerful that platform is. It's the most used website in the crypto space. So having like a really strong page on CoinMarketCap and regularly sending updates out through CoinMarketCap, they've got their own kind of mini version of X. That's really important. You know, massive amounts. And I said 3 channels, you know, Telegram is obviously huge as well. So you've got to kind of like really work hard to make sure that you're giving regular updates on Telegram, that you're, you know, doing AMAs in some of the most popular lounges, that, you know, I'm regularly kind of networking with whales and private groups, you know, and sharing kind of consistent updates with the community. If you visit our website, hodltoken.net, you know, there's everything's there. It's a beautiful website. It's got all the information. And then we just do loads of stuff like targeted ad marketing. We do a lot of AMAs, video updates. You know, the list is really, really long. And I think it's just about being consistent. It's about kind of sharing what you're building and why you're building it, and what is that core message, like what is the thing that makes your project really strong, and kind of constantly engaging people about that. You know, for us, you hold HODL, you earn BNB. That's the message we're getting out. And you can talk about things like your APRs and what people are earning. You can run competitions, you know, where people can see the reward claims of other people and so on. So we're on all the social media. We do targeted ads. We work with big influencers. You know, we work with, in my opinion, one of the very biggest in the entire game, and that's El Jaboom, who's an absolute legend, lovely guy. And he's like sharing updates about our project. And we actually had CZ retweet us twice in the last kind of month, you know, because I think he follows El Jaboom. So that kind of network effect, I think, is critical, making sure that you don't just fire messages out there. You work with the people who they have a voice in the community that you're relevant to. You know, we're kind of starting to learn who are those people that really are here for the BNB chain, and making sure we're working with them, making sure that we update everybody, making sure we run consistent social media, and then we're kind of constantly measuring different forms of marketing. But I think one of the big differences between us and other projects is we do a lot of that in-house. You know, personally, I've got to know a lot of developers in crypto, and they all spend, in my opinion, way too much money outsourcing marketing. And I think when you run any type of business, when you run a project where it's your job to make sure that the return on investment for every dollar you spend in marketing, you know, one of the good ways that you can drive that return on investment is by bringing a lot of your initiatives in-house and not being lazy and just basically paying these big amounts to people externally, because it's not sustainable. So that's kind of like our view and approach. And I think as well, you've got to be kind of like willing to put the work in and build incrementally, rather than, you know, you kind of want to make the most noise in one day, but then you run out of money and then you start the next project like that. That's not what we're about.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, I pretty much remember some years back when El Jaboom actually made the tweet about on you guys, and I really remember the one CZ actually retweeted. You know, this helped really push the community out there. And to be honest with you guys, I've seen a couple of work you guys have done on Twitter. I've seen a couple of tweets from top BNB Chain KOLs putting out whole tokens to everyone there. Still talking about whole tokens, still, you know, letting people know that you guys are still building for over 4 years and you guys are still here. I really appreciate what you guys are doing, and that's a big one for you guys. Okay, I think I have to like bring up Mickey to uh ask his or her question here, Mickey. What's up? What's good? How you doing? Hey, Mickey, you're there. Have you unmute your mic and ask the question?
I think your mic's rugged. Yeah, as you come. Oh, there we go.
All right, all right. Okay. So,
Big
guys, if you're
Mickey, I
just
see. I
joining,
see you've got the orange diamond, Mickey. That's a good start, mate.
Mickey. Okay, I think Mickey's here. Mickey, can you ask the question?
Okay, GM Big Tudo, GM guys, GM Hold. Yeah. Okay, my question is from the staking section. You said staking hold offers BNB rewards, right? But as more users join, dilution could be a challenge. How does hold dynamically balance staking rewards to keep them attractive without draining the reward pool or affecting token velocity? Are you guys using or planning mechanisms like auto compounding, halving, or NFT based multipliers? That's my question.
Yeah, that's a good question. So breaking that down, firstly, there's two sources of creating rewards. So you don't actually stake, and I think that's really important. You know, you don't have to place your tokens that are in your bag into our smart contract or a smart contract we created. You hold your tokens on your address and you simply connect to the claim page on our website. That's hodltoken.net/claim. And basically it will check your balance on chain, and then from your balance it knows what percentage of the reward pool you own. So if you have 1% of the tokens, you basically can pull down 1% of the reward pool. So it's not staking, because it's one of the kind of awesome features about HODL is that you keep your tokens in your wallet under your control. You basically just connect to our D app and then pull down your share of the BNB reward pool. So that's the first thing. It's not staking. It's the tokens remain in your hands. In terms of kind of like sustainability, you know, I mentioned earlier, and I think this is the key, is that you can't be reliant solely on transactional taxing, because, you know, it can go up and it can go down. So if the price pumps, obviously your systems will generate more BNB for the pool. But then, you know, as people draw down rewards from that pool, and the kind of buy pressure reduces because the pool's decreasing, then the token price reduces, which means the contribution to the reward pool reduces, and you basically enter a death spiral. So that's something that's different between us and all the other projects that have tried to do this, is that they basically burn out and enter a death spiral. So there's a ton, and I'm not going to like bore you guys with kind of all the different things that we do to kind of achieve sustainability, but I'll touch on a couple. So the first thing we do, and this is different to the past. So in the original kind of contract, so we basically CTO'd it. So I should mention that we CTO'd it after about 3 months. I was part of the team that was kind of like volunteering and working hard to build the project. And I what drove me is I think this could be one of the first projects to have 1 billion holders, because what's more important than your income? What's more important than knowing that you've got money coming in consistently? That's why we're here. We want earning. So I think the kind of notion, the fact that we're using the biggest word in crypto, HODL, and you get paid to hodl, I think that's massive. So for me, this is going to be like the Apple of crypto, or like the Microsoft of crypto. You're like a huge brand with a simple message. You hold this and you're going to earn consistently. And the way we're achieving that is that we've built a ton of things. You know, this is the key thing. Like, you can't create a great business or a great project overnight. It takes years. So over the years, we've built loads of mechanics within our smart contract and within our ecosystem that make it sustainable. So we have we use like a reward pool capping concept. So basically, at the moment, the reward pool distributes 20 BNB a week. There's 250 BNB sat in the reward pool right now. So that's like, I think it's like $160,000 worth of BNB. But we don't allow the community just to go into that reward pool and draw it all out, you know, within like 7 days. Because who lives like that? Like who goes to work, gets paid at the end of the week, or gets paid daily, you know? It's just not consistent. And then have to go and earn it again tomorrow. Like, so we do it that you claim weekly, but, you know, at the moment, with there being 250 BNB in the pool and there's a cap on how much you can claim of 20 BNB, you've got 3 months of guaranteed rewards. So we kind of term that, or we talk about that as like linear reward distribution. It's like, you know, it's payment over a period of time rather than big payments when it blows up, and then tiny payments in things like bear markets. There's like a kind of linear distribution model with our reward pool, and it uses this technology that we term kind of reward capping to do that. The second thing is that we recently developed a dynamic reward bot. So often with these projects, what happens is that you basically tax tokens on chain. So if somebody comes along and buys like 1 million HODL tokens, then the tax is 5%. So the contract will hold 5% of that 1 million reward tokens. Whether it's a buy, a sell, or a transfer, it's 5% of whatever that is in the token. And then we have like a reward bot which converts those tokens into BNB. But the thing that changed is that in V1, that was a fixed amount of tokens. And for me, that's an issue, because you may have, like when CZ tweeted, for example, we went from like a 2 million market cap to like a 9 million market cap in about an hour and a half. So what you need to do is you need to program your system so that when your price is pumping up, it's selling higher amounts of tokens, or effectively converting higher amounts of tokens into rewards. When your price is dropping, it's lower. But we have like a multi-prong approach. So we have 3 elements that kind of work together to determine how much of the tokens that are stored on the contract in the reward pool are converted into BNB. 1 is how the price is performing. 2 is how the token balance is what's called decaying. Is the number of tokens that are in our reward pool constantly dropping? If so, it just dials different amounts of conversion of tokens that are held on the contract to be converted into BNB, depending on those kind of conditions. So we have all these kind of things that we've built into our smart contract over time that take into account market conditions, take into account price, take into account how the token balance is on the reward pool, take into account how the BNB balance is versus the cap. And all of these things basically lead you to a situation where you have an even distribution of BNB rewards rather than big spikes. Because if you go down that route, you kind of are going to fail. You know, it would be a bit like it's a bit like in life where you might have a good period at work where you're earning a lot of money. And then if you were to spend all that money, if you were to claim all that money, that kind of analogy, who knows what's going to happen next month? So I think this kind of concept of creating linear distribution, plus you basically are training your smart contract to adapt how much rewards it's creating based on when your price is going up or down and so on. Those sorts of things I think are really important, and we've put a lot of work into that, and we're way ahead. Like we're pioneering this thing, like we're leading this thing. Like the whole point of this project is that we're going to be the ones that lead the entire industry when it comes to hold to earn. You know, how can we give as much earning to our user base when they hold as possible? And all of these little technologies and these thoughts and these suggestions from the community, we're just constantly adding them in. And that's why it's worth staying with the project. You know, I'm not interested in launching the next thing and the next thing, the next thing. You know, I've built businesses for the last 18 years, and I've come into crypto 5 years ago with the intention to build one project and make it the best project in crypto. And for me, you know, people want to earn as they hold. And so we've got to build all these things in. The other side of it, though, is you cannot be reliant solely, as I mentioned earlier, on transactional volume, because that goes up and down. And then when it goes down, what do? You enter a death spiral. So we've created things that surround those taxes that basically generate revenue. So we've got like a series of mini games. So people who just want to play mini games and earn some tokens, they can do that. And then you need our NFTs to basically give yourself a bigger advantage to earn more money. So people are buying our NFTs. You know, we've sold $500,000 worth of NFTs. That helps pay for all your development. That helps pay, you know, gives you funding for marketing. That helps build your reward pool. And then we've built a studio scale game, which is about to go live. We spent 3 years building it. I think it's going to be one of the biggest games in play to earn. Like, the guy who's building it is a genius. Like, it uses the best technologies, but again, it's revenue generative. Then we have things like our staking pools, where we get like small fees when people use our staking pools and they stake their NFTs to earn HODL and vice versa. And then we have, as I mentioned, these 2 NFT ranges where we've sold, I think, collectively about $600,000, you know, and this is while everyone's talking about NFTs being dead, you know, and all of these things work together. And so you've got this kind of like, you've got the transactional stuff, which we've seen, other people have done that, but you can't rely on it. And we've got loads of smart technology that kind of like utilizes it. So when we run up, like we ran up to 230 million in the last bull run. If that happened again, the way we've built the contract is it would generate between 5 and 10 times more BNB than it did last time. And in a 1 week period in V1, in the proper bull run of 2021, there was 10,000 BNB in the reward pool. So the potential is just obscene. You know, like when this thing starts rolling and the BNB reward goes up, more people are going to come in. So you mentioned, for example, about what happens when you scale, what happens when you grow, when more people participate. Well, when more people participate, the price goes up. When the price goes up, the reward creation goes up. When the reward creation goes up, more people want to participate. And that's probably the biggest thing about this project is that it's going to become like this black hole in the industry where it's going to suck everyone in. Because as soon as you get to like 500 or 1,000 BNB in the reward pool and you reach that kind of critical mass, people are going to be seeing those APRs and those earnings, and they're going to be flooding in. When they flood in, price goes up, the reward creation goes up, and the whole thing just absolutely explodes. So it's quite frankly years of hard work to piece these things together. You know, the smart contract technology, you know, where in V1, the claiming a BNB reward cost about $1. We've got that down to, I think it's about half a cent. You know, like it's 1/200th of the original price of claiming BNB rewards. So we've refined the kind of the intrinsic systems that generate rewards and pay out rewards, plus created around them a kind of a rich ecosystem of revenue generative games and NFTs and utilities and staking, which kind of all contribute together. And then the final thing is we've built so much technology, and we're a registered business. We've actually been able to raise investment against our shares. So the company owns the technology, not me. I can't just walk away into the sunset with it all. Like, the company owns it. It's a legal company. We're doxed. And we've built such great technology that people have been investing into the company just to acquire shares in the company at a valuation of 2 million. And that means that we're able to use that money to grow the project and to run marketing and build and so on. So I think it's kind of like that critical mass of work and thought and feedback and testing to kind of pull it together to actually make it sustainable that I don't think anyone else has done.
That's a lot. Mickey, I hope your question has been answered in full accord. I hope your question has been answered, man.
Yes.
So,
That was great insight, man.
yeah, Mickey,
Yeah,
sorry for the long answer, but like, you know, you've asked a great question there, and we've spent years kind of basically fixing those challenges, you know, coming up with those solutions. So I appreciate that.
yeah. Perfect. So
Thanks, man.
Josh also has been here. So I think I'll bring Josh up to ask his own question. Yo, Josh, well, what's good, Jim? How you doing? Mickey, could you help me mute your mic? Okay, since I assume Josh is not around, Kelvin, can you unmute and ask your question?
GM, thanks Tudor for bringing me up on space. That was a nice question from Milky actually. So my question now is that with the hype all around Solana blockchain and the rest, why do HODL still choose to build on BNB Chain? Or is there any like future integration to Solana blockchain or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, the reason so I think with anything, you know, I've had this in like non-crypto related businesses where there's been like a business, a brand that's entered the market that's been very disruptive. It's been like the next big thing. Like we had the kind of like Solana phase, but you know that's hype. You know that's kind of like that's sort of like everyone's looking at it going, oh, it's the next big thing, so they all want to participate, and that's what kind of drives that snowball effect. At the end of the day, like, you know, great businesses, great projects are built over a course of many years, and hype comes and goes. You know, I think we've seen that with Solana, for example. People are starting to go, actually, hang on a minute, like, you know, it's just is it just one big farm? You know, that's the kind of that's what I'm hearing other people say. You know, I've participated in investing into projects on Solana, and they're so unstable. And I think the reason we stuck to the Binance Smart Chain is because, I mean, I'll give you a very personal answer to that. One, we have a great history on it. You know, we're the leading reward token in crypto, and we've done that on the BNB chain. So we have that legacy, that history. So don't kind of mess with your legacy if it's a good one. Stay with what you're building. The second thing is people have to remember that the BNB chain has so much going for it. There's so many people building on it, and the team at Binance and the team at the BNB chain, they've built so much. There's so many support programs. There's so many people working on it. You know, it's huge. But also, don't forget, this is the biggest business in crypto. You know, Binance is number one. So they have the revenue, they have the resource, they have the experience, they have the traction in the market. It's not going anywhere. So it has that long-term play. And I think when you weigh all these things up, you kind of go, well, look, we back that horse number one, and we see that as a long-term vehicle to kind of build our project, and we see the benefits in building on the BNB chain, and we see the stability and the resource that BNB chain and Binance has. So it makes total sense. The whole Solana thing, you know, and I don't know what will be next. That's hype, and you know, we're not chasing hype because it comes and goes. And when you're building a project like ours, it takes years. Like it's taken years of probably about 70,000 man hours have gone in just in development over this period, you know, planning and working on the ecosystem. So you can't focus purely on hype because that comes and goes. You've got to look at who's got the resource, who's got the capability. You know, BNB Chain's cheap, it's fast, it's got a good team, it's backed by the biggest company in the world. It's got like very heavily participating people like CZ. So you add all these things up, and for me, it's just like, you know, in my opinion, it's the best place to be. When it comes to kind of like HODL as a concept, you know, I think the blockchain it's on will become less and less relevant in the future. I think when crypto gains kind of mass adoption, people aren't going to be thinking about the underlying technology. Like, put it this way, when you think about your real world banking, do you think about, or do you even care what technology your bank uses? Of course you don't. It just works. And I think we'll reach a point with crypto when these things work and it's all happening under the surface, and you're not really thinking too much about this chain or that chain. It just works. And we're building our app and our ecosystem so that you don't have to worry too much about the chain. It just works. And in the future, we're going to do it so that we will be chain agnostic. We'll build our own chain eventually, and we will also operate on as many of, and ultimately, if possible, all of the chains out there. Because we have to kind of like where we, our ultimate vision for this is to have 1 billion people around the world who are basically holding their investment to earn. And to achieve that, eventually we have to be chain agnostic and move across a number of chains. So we believe the right horse to back right now is BNB, and it has everything we could possibly need. And it's perfect for our project, and it has a great long-term future. But ultimately, you know, and eventually down the line, we'll hopefully be operating across as many of the chains as possible.
Oh, thanks. You did justice to the question. Actually, why I wanted asking the question is just to know whether you guys are here to stay or you're just here for the hype. But with what you said, yes, you guys are here to build. And building on BNB Chain, yes, it was actually a good decision. So good luck in building HODL. Shout out to the team.
Thanks, man.
Yeah,
Appreciate it. I
yeah.
appreciate it.
HODL been here for for over 4 years. You know, I've known this guy since the time like they have been here for a couple of years, and you know, still pretty much strong in the ecosystem, with their community pretty much active in the BNB chain. So I think, to me, building on BNB chain is actually a good one. Like you rightly said, where your strength is, you need to like remain there. Possibility of bringing in or moving into or integrating Solana will still be there for the future, but they are pretty much strong in the BNB chain. And Kelvin, I appreciate the question as well. That was a good question. So, guys, if you're just joining, you know, we're here having a chat with the HODL official, the HODL coin on BNB chain. These guys have been here in the BNB chain for over 4 years, and their token is actually reflectionary in the sense that when you hold the HODL coin, you stand you gain to earn BNB. So while you're holding, you know, while the coin is laying down in your wallet, you're not trading, you're not doing anything, you're earning BNB. And because of this, they've been able to distribute over 20,000 BNB to holders. That's a huge amount of money, man. That's like over $30 million worth of BNB. So if you're just joining, you can come on and ask your questions. And also don't forget that at the end of the day, those who ask the intriguing questions will be rewarded at the end of the day. So Kelvin, I see your hand is still up, but I want to move over to Josh to at least give Josh a chance to also ask his own question. Josh, if you're there, please could you unmute and ask your question?
Yeah, GMGM, Tudor, GMGM hold, GMGM the speaker, and GMGM all the listeners. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can pretty much hear you.
Yeah.
All right. So I was having a network glitch, so I had to reconnect. I have been listening to this space, and I had like few questions actually, but for now, I really appreciate also for building in Binance chain for a long time. You can't change the winning team for that. That's just the principle, and they'll be winning there. But during the course of the building, I actually wanted to ask a question: what are the challenges they faced during the course, and also how have they overcome it, and how are they going to overcome future challenges? What are the mechanism or the things they've put in place?
Yeah, I mean, I think when you're trying to build something really good, you're going to get challenges. I think anybody that's ran their own business or has built their own projects has faced challenges. And I think the most important thing, and the thing that we have, and the thing that's kind of like allows us to overcome challenges again and again and again, is we have a history of doing that. And we have like the desire and the motivation to kind of like keep doing that. So like even in bad times, we find solutions. You know, when something goes wrong, we front it, and we work out how we can be stronger from it. I think from the top down, you know, you have to have that attitude of like, you will smash through walls. You know, nothing will stop you. We're absolutely unstoppable. I think that's something that, you know, I have in me, very much so. Like, I will not be stopped, and nothing will get in our way. And I think the people that are in the team, you know, we have a great team. These are all in, by the way, our team is, including myself, we all started as investors. You know, we didn't start as like a developer who kind of threw out a contract hoping that it would, you know, make them a load of money. We saw like the potential of this brand and this concept, and we kind of came together to do the work, do what was necessary. So I think at its most basic, the most important thing that we have is the desire to always overcome challenges. And for me, that's the key thing. The way we do that is by working together as a team, by working together as a community, and innovating, you know, and testing and measuring, and looking at how, okay, well, you know, what do we need? What does the project need? What do our holders need? You know, if we need, like, we've had the bear market, you know, we've been paying out BNB rewards and building. I've been working on this full time for 4 years, all the way through the bear market. And we had to kind of constantly think about, okay, well, what do we need to do? What do we need to do? And then do it, you know, and that isn't always the funnest thing. That isn't always the work you want to do, but that's the work that you need to do. So things like building new innovations that generate revenue, whether that's things like our innovative staking pools, creating things like where our users can swap their tokens for discounted NFTs, and then they can use their NFTs to game and earn HODL or stake their NFTs. So that kind of brings a reduction of sell pressure, you know, those kind of innovations. You know, working really hard on our NFTs and our art, so that we're creating a revenue stream away from the token that allows us to pay the bills, to fund marketing. You know, building our marketing functions in-house, so we're not reliant on third parties who typically overcharge and are not sustainable. You know, being professional, you know, thinking about what is the expenditure of the project, actually running bookkeeping, you know, looking at your costs, looking at your operational expenditure versus your income, you know, having the ability to pull together like a proper business and go out and raise investment and attract shareholders. You know, it's all doable, but often it's hard work, often it's ugly work, often there's things that, you know, I've worked on that I don't enjoy, but you do it because you know that that's what's going to make this project work. So we've done those things. You know, we put the project first. You know, we're here to make the number one outcome, or the motivation for us building this project, is to build a really awesome project that outlives us. You know, we've locked our liquidity for 255 years because I want to give my kids my HODL and pass it over to somebody else that can carry on taking it forward. So we have that kind of mindset and that framework. We believe we've stumbled across an absolutely once in a lifetime opportunity to create this awesome brand and to be the leaders in crypto, which is going to be the leader of finance and technology. And we want to be the ones that are leading when it comes to, you know, well, it's great that you can invest in this coin, this token, that token, but actually with HODL, you can invest in it and trade it, but you're also going to be earning as you're holding it. You don't have that headache and stress of looking at charts and moving your money around constantly and getting rugged left, right, and center. Put your money in, take your rewards, and if you want to take some profit, if you want to trade it, no problem. So I think it's that sort of like fundamental vision to be the leaders of hold to earn, you know, wrapped around this awesome brand concept, and then just an approach as a team from the top down that you will work through, and you will smash through every wall that comes your way by thinking, by planning, by being professional, and overcoming obstacles. I think that's kind of like the sort of key ingredients, or the key sort of like elements as to what's allowed us to sort of do this all this time, even in the bear market.
All right, thank you. I actually get something. I don't know. You said something about locking the liquidity. I don't know if I can go ahead the questions. And you said the team locked the liquidity for how many years? I didn't get that. Sorry.
Yeah, so the liquidity of the token, so you can see that on like our website, the charts and so on. But the liquidity of the token, so there's like 243 BNB. So we're at like, you know, in my opinion, we're the most undervalued token in crypto. because the potential of this project is beyond anything imaginable. You know, we're at 2.8 million market cap with $316,000 of liquidity in just the token. That liquidity is locked with UniCrypt for 255 years. So nobody can access the liquidity of the token, and however big that grows to be, until the year 2250 or something. And I think that's you know the point. We're nobody who participates in this project will ever be alive when the liquidity unlocks, because we're not going to rug it. It's here forever.
All right, thank you. I really appreciate your response. That's a long amount of years, though. Oh, that's all for now.
Yeah, thank you.
I mean,
Thank you.
I should say I've jokingly said in the community that, like, you know, I'll rug our liquidity in the year 2250, but I'm pretty certain that, you know, none of us are going to be around then. You know, and I think we wanted to kind of make that point. It's like, look, you know, this is a statement. Like, if UniCrypt only allow you to lock liquidity for that length of time, like we locked it for like the maximum number of years and days and minutes that their system would allow. If it would let us lock it for infinity, we would.
Yeah. To be honest, I think the 250 years. I don't think anyone would be here. None of us would be alive to, you know, probably.
Yeah, mate. I think I'll be close to celebrating my 300th birthday by then. So. My do you know what's funny is my grandma, I've got my parents visiting me, and they just visited my grandma, and she turned 104 on Wednesday. So, like, I've got a good chance. I've got genetics and DNA that kind of will give me a decent length of life, but I'm not sure 300 is kind of possible.
Yeah, well, anyone, that was a good one. Thank you, Josh, for coming on to ask the question. So we're just gonna pick one more person to ask the final question before we close up for the day. So I think Kelvin and Mickey, I know you guys are eager to ask more questions, but I think I'm not gonna ask any more questions from you guys. I just want to give one person the chance, and I think I'm gonna bring up Manny to ask our final questions before we call it for the night. So Manny, what's up? GM, thank you for joining us on the space. How are you doing?
Thank you. Sorry, I wanted to just ask a quick question. So, I wanted to ask, like, the mechanism that you have done to prevent the uh, bearish run and the long-term holders. How is there a mechanism to prevent price shock or dumps by early holders?
Yeah, I touched on a couple earlier on, but I'll kind of come back to those in terms of I think one of the problems with the original version of our contract under the founding dev, you know, he was with the project for I think 2-3 months before he wanted to kind of like move on to something else. And the original project, the reward pool was distributing 100% of the BNB in that reward pool every 24 hours. And for me, that's just insane. Like, it was kind of cool and it ran up, but it's not sustainable. So we made a change whereby the way that the reward pool distributes rewards is all the BNB that's in the pool is going to go to the holders based on their percentage share in the project. But it's not going to be like in one day or 1 week. Like, we cap how much the reward pool is distributing, and we can change that cap. And we one day we'll come up with some clever solution so that we can entirely decentralize the management of that cap. But for now, we use our 4 years experience plus market conditions to kind of control the cap that's in play at any one time, so that we're not depleting the pool. So right now, just to put it in simple terms, if you get a bag of HODL, let's say you get $1,000 worth of HODL. There's 250 BNB in the reward pool, and the cap's 20. So even if nobody entered the ecosystem and contributed more tax, or there was a contribution of revenue from our games, etc., to the reward pool, we guarantee you that there's what is that, 12 and a half weeks of if you connect to hodltoken.net/claim, and you have 1% of HODL of the supply in your wallet, then you get 1% of the reward pool, and you'll see what that is. But it's all within the cap. So whatever you're looking at claiming at the moment, you have that guarantee for 12 weeks. And I like that, the idea that there's 3 months of rewards there. You have that stability. You know you're going to be claiming BNB for 3 months. Now, it's our job to make sure that we extend that. You know, can we get it to 6 months? Can we get the cap to 25, to 30, to 50, to 100, to 1,000? You know, but we have to balance these things intelligently and smartly, and consider the market, consider the conditions, consider our expenditure, consider our inflows of revenue, and make sure that we're kind of balancing these things out so that there's always that sustainability. And then I also mentioned earlier on as well that our smart contract has been heavily developed so that the fees for claiming rewards are now 1/200th of what they were in V1. And also the way our system generates rewards is smart. So if we had like a huge spike, there would be more reward generation than, for example, if our price is going down. So it's dynamic, it's conditional, that it generates rewards based on the market conditions, the BNB reward pool balance, and the token price. So you kind of add all of this together and you have sustainable long-term payouts, and you have like smart reward generation, and then you have sustainability through all of your different revenue streams.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Thank you so much, Manny, for coming on to ask a question. So, guys, you've all heard from HODL. You've all heard from all the questions that has been answered. It's actually a good one, and it's actually nice having you guys to come on here to interact with us on the space. So, HODL official, I don't know. Do you have any other thing to say before we get to like close up the space? Like, could I just say maybe closing remark from you, or whatever you want to just let the community know that you guys are doing before we get to end the space?
Yeah, sure. I think for me is I want you guys to understand our intent. You know what's within our minds and our hearts, like, and our community know this because they're seeing it. We're turning up every day. We are here to build the best project in crypto. You know, we're not just a token. We're a project that you can participate in easily and enjoyably. That's frictionless. It's simple, and you can earn as you hold. Because that is better than basically buying tokens and coins for a price and then selling them for a different price and hoping you make a profit. To actually be able to do that, but also to be getting rewarded as you hold, is what it's all about. And we think we're doing that under the best possible brand. We have a great team, and the reward for us as people is that we want to be part of building something that's really special, and it's an amazing thing to be a part of. That's the reward. You know, I'm not doing this for the money. Like, I'm doing this because I want to be part of the best project that's out there, and I want to change the industry. I want to disrupt people's thinking around what investment is, and I want to come up with solutions, because there's a lot I don't like about crypto, and I bet everybody on this call shares that feeling. There's too many projects where they're not actually innovating. There's too many projects that rug. You know, there's too many people that run projects that don't care, or that they're not really here to build. They're not really here to create. You know, they're why we're here. You know, because think about it. Why would we build for 4 years during a bear market on one project full time if that wasn't the case? So I think for people that want to earn as they hold, and see the potential of that as we reach critical mass, you know, that we reach a point where the reward pool is so big, like it was in V1 in the bull run, that it just explodes. And as it explodes, it causes more FOMO and more buy pressure, which is more rewards. I have no idea where that's going to end up, because unlike the last time, we're built now for this thing to just go and go and go and go. And as it goes, it's going to get stronger and stronger and stronger, and the rewards are going to go up. More people want to be a part of it. So for me, what gets me out of bed in the morning, and I think I've been lucky to find people to work with who kind of share this, is that we want to build the best thing. And that's why we're here. We want to create something that's so cool and so fun and so special to be a part of. So people that like the idea of a team that isn't going to stop, isn't going to be stopped by anything in its way. And we've proven that with a lot of things we've done. You know, we won't be stopped. We won't see barriers. We'll smash through walls. We'll keep building, you know, and if you like the idea that you're going to earn as well as being able to trade the token, then this is the place to be. And I think when crypto really takes off and everyone's talking about HODL, because it does that to you when you're in crypto, you learn what the word HODL is. For us to have that brand equity and the ecosystem that we've created, I go back to what got me into this project. And I think if we do it right, it could be the first project to have 1 billion holders. And I mean that. So for people that want to be a part of that and sleep safe, knowing that there's a team that care and that are just going to relentlessly build and never, ever use excuses or find barriers that, you know, that can't be overcome, then this is the project for you.
All right, guys, you heard the man. HODL is here to stay. HODL is here to build on BNB Chain. HODL is here to continuously care about their community. So we are looking forward to, we would be having this chat continuously to involve the community, get to interact with the community. We will be having spaces like this to, you know, hear what the community think about HODL as a coin. So we're looking forward to more spaces. Don't forget to follow HODL, turn on post notification to, you know, stay updated on whatever that is going on in the community. Join their community on Telegram, be active, and I would advise get a bag of HODL and hold so you'll be able to be earning BNB, because I'm doing that as well. So hopefully see you guys some other time, and do well to follow HODL, do well to follow me, and, you know, stay updated. I'll be posting more about HODL and whatever they're building. So hopefully some other time we'll let you guys know. I'll put up a tweet. We'll come on here, interact, you know, share some information and get to ask questions. So see you guys some other time. Don't forget to follow me and follow HODL.